In July 2020, I had the chance to attend a garage sale unlike any other. In a warehouse in the Auckland suburb of Onehunga, one man's collection of vintage technology, collected over a couple of decades or more, was opened up for sale to the public. The reason was simple. Graham Talker, who ran the electronics recycling business, liked to keep anything of value off to one side. But once he decided to sell up and retire, the mission changed from accumulating stuff to getting rid of it. I wasn't able to attend on the first day, but over the course of 3 visits, I found a bunch of treasures, and even a few surprises. Graham was kind enough to allow me to film inside, and while I didn't think to get any footage on my first visit, I made a point of documenting as much as I could. And now, let's take a step into the past and see what gold awaits us inside. Welcome to paradise. This is computer recycling's hoard of vintage goodies. If it's old and has a circuit board, chances are it's in here somewhere. PCs, Macs, Commodores, Tandys, Amigas, Amstrads. It's very much a who's who of 20th century computing. For PC fans, this was the first place to visit. Along this wall was mainly older PCs from the 80s and early 90s. XTs, PC compatibles, PS2s, and some monitors to go with them. Here's a look at the bottom shelf. A couple of XTs in there, and what looks like 3 Sanyo MBC 555s. And of course, what good is a PC without some SATA hard drives, CD drives, and tape units? Oh hey, keyboards. We'll come back to those in a minute. There were quite a few luggables on offer. I even saw an early compact hidden around here somewhere. At the end of the shelf here, we find the Sony BKH3090 remote controller, which apparently had something to do with videotape editing back in the 1970s. No idea what you could do with it now, but I appreciate it being knob. There's plenty more computers where those came from. Here's something for you Amstrad aficionados. Rumour has it these computers were beige once. This IBM PC has seen better days. No idea where it came from, but the label on the front reads Auckland Resource Domain FTC, whatever that is. Ouch, that poor Sanyo. If you're looking for an old tower to turn into a retro project PC, these pallets are where you want to start. There was certainly no shortage of machines here. Who needs an NAS when you can have an IBM 7131 instead? It's all about the Pentiums, baby. Hey, who put that fridge there? I shudder to think what happened to this poor SGI-02. Did somebody try to open it with a sledgehammer or something? They never found the last guy who didn't power down the server properly. Of course, a PC is just a big box without a good keyboard. There were dozens of them stuffed into these overflowing boxes, including nearly a dozen Model Ms in various states of disrepair. I managed to cobble one together from others that needed way too much work. Seriously, some were missing half their keys and springs. Ah, just listen to that clicking. There were all kinds of keyboards in here, from your bread and butter OEM offerings to some serious bits of kit. There were plenty of rare and exotic keyboards to be had. I'm a big fan of the white on black look this one has going. What's the deal with this one? Is that an integrated scanner or something? And now we're getting into some really old stuff. I have absolutely no idea what this machine is, but I'm fairly certain that typing on it wouldn't be much fun. Up here is a pretty neat word processor. And hey, a flip clock. Numbers didn't flip though. Here's a couple of Atari 520 STs. The second one has definitely seen better days. Oh, and check out this kiddie keyboard. Who needs RGB lighting when you can have those keys? In Comic Sans no less. The purple vowel keys are a neat touch. Another ST lurking in there. And here's that keyboard again. It looks like this one had an integrated phone at some point. I would have got one of these if I had a machine I could have plugged it into. I had to. There's something about the style of that 3 that I just love. Now this is an interesting concept in keyboard design. Wait, is that a Bernoulli drive? Does the pain of death refer to the operator or to the keyboard itself? Yikes. Check out those arrow keys though. Okay, that's enough of the PCs for now. Let's go over to the other side where we find these. 2 iMac G3s. Very nice. Opposite those were 2 Macintosh SEs in pretty good nick. A bunch of dusty sunflowers, some keyboards lying about, and even a couple of brand new in-box Macs. Yes, it's a veritable apple orchard over here. There's those G4s, boxes of software, some rather rare Mac clones. Some style writers. Plenty of keyboards. On the table is another style writer, some floppy drives, and some machine nobody's really interested in. Back over here and there's a bunch of power PCs to choose from, and hey, where'd that blue iMac go? Over here is mostly monitors with 1 or 2 full machines, but then you get to these boxes over here. Now, let me just move this PowerBook out of the way and, hey presto, some LC3s. But right next to them are some more boxes containing an impressive array of iBooks and PowerBooks. Seriously, you've never seen so many of them in one place before. I was this close to getting one, but they weren't in great condition, and I wasn't sure about buying a machine I knew nothing about. I've got to say though, this one blows every modern laptop out of the water in terms of style. Check out that art. Some light reading material for you while you wait for your printer to finish. I almost got one of these sunflowers, but I was talked out of it. You'll see what I got instead later on. I'll bet you that monitor came from a school somewhere. The number of Macs here was incredible, and I would have bought one if I knew more about what goes with what. Mid-90s Macs can be a bit of a minefield. Let's go back to those SEs for a second. I don't really know much about these things, but if I had to make a guess, I'd say this is where you plug things in. Maybe. Most of the Apple IIs vanished on the first day of the sale, but not this one. I did find 2 more, but they were pretty much just empty shells, and this one was missing some keys. nice wang. This pile of machines was due to be sent to a film crew out in East Tamaki. If you're a fan of Cowboy Bebop, keep an eye out for these in Season 2 of the live-action show. This box was full of manuals for the HyperCard and System Software 6, still in their shrink wrapping. Let's see what else we can find. This piece of equipment is called an apparatus. If you plug it into a device, it does things. Alright, someone call pest control. We've got a mouse infestation around here. Remember, boys and girls, computers are nothing more than a passing fad, but typewriters and word processors, they're forever. Over on one of the tables in the middle of the room, I found this curious contraption. Imagine my astonishment when I discovered it was a PC convertible. The keyboard has long since struck out to make it big on its own. It's such a shame because it was in pretty good condition besides the minor missing part. I don't even know what to make of this one. The one next to it was pretty cool though. On the other side, there's an Atari 2600 and an Acorn Electron. Very nice to see these in person. Next to them were a few chunky Amstrads. I really shouldn't have been as surprised as I was to find these in New Zealand. Here's a curiosity though, an Amstrad NC100 notepad computer. It's very proud of the fact that it's user-friendly. There was no shortage of Commodore disk drives and monitors for sale. No computers besides a couple of PCs though. All the C64s flew out the door on the first morning. On my first visit there were a bunch of consoles ranging from PS2s to Xboxes for sale, among others. Today though, it's just controllers. Past this mountain of Commodore monitors and 1541 and 1570 disk drives, we find a couple of Amigas. There was actually a box full of these, but they were all for parts only. Here's a rather sharp looking computer. Next to it we find a very sleek looking Acorn. It looks like it might be an A4000. Hey McLeans, are you guys missing something? And by way of something completely different, check this out. It's a rank oldest Tutor 2 slide and film strip projector. I just love how solidly built this thing is. And besides that, we have a Singer Messenger 7. From memory, I think this was some kind of slide projector with a tape deck inside it. On this table, a few laptops, including this solid Toshiba with a combination lock. Then there's a tape recorder and some reels of tape, a portable keynote computer of some kind, and a telecom payphone? Just over here are some more computers, including this very nice HP Vectra tower. And over here is a pallet loaded with 80s and early 90s PCs. Now check this out, it's a Tandy. Not a TRS-80 sadly, but it's still really cool to see a Tandy 1200 down here in New Zealand. There were also a couple of boxes filled with laptops, but no power cables sadly. I did see a compact 1200 almost exactly the same as one I have, but it was a little bit banged up. My apologies for the jumpy video, the file came out a little bit glitchy. Walking past this side of the table, and there's a couple more laptops and even a tablet. But hey, hang on, what's this? It's a compact TC1000 tablet PC, complete with keyboard. I really should have grabbed this. Mid-2000s tablet PCs just fascinate me. There was certainly no shortage of monitors to be had. All CRTs from different ages and sizes, but all of them very appealing. And check out this little guy. It's obviously from a point of sale system, and it's so light I can lift it one-handed. A Philips CRT monitor still in its box. I was so very tempted by this. Now how's this for a camera? And you've heard of Flight Simulator, you've heard of Truck Simulator, now get ready for Modem Simulator. Thrilling stuff, I'm sure. I don't know what this Data 100 is for, but it looks pretty space age to me. Here's something I was hoping to find, an IBM XT and 5151 monitor. In truth, I actually bought this very machine, but I was allowed to swap it for another one I found, and you'll see why later on. But look at what was at the other end of the shelf, a box full of Lisa software. There weren't any Lisas around to take this home with, but still, what a rare find. Here's a serious one that looks like it means serious business. It wasn't just computer stuff that was on sale either. There was all sorts of assorted electronic goodies, like this Ambassador remote control unit. Old Cody tobacco tins full of resistors, some printers and scanners, and a ton of audio equipment. There were hi-fis everywhere, even a couple of laserdisc players. It's not often you see a record player with a VU meter. Here's a fancy bit of 70s kit, a Sanyo G-2601 of some description. It even comes with an integrated tape deck. Oh hey, it's Dave Allen. I'm a big fan of his. Now this was cool. It's a 12-inch Thorn Companion television, complete with some pretty neat controls. Yes, even New Zealand made televisions. This set was probably manufactured only a few kilometres from here. I wonder if I could get this to work with it. Remember these? Over here was a bunch of cell phones from the 2000s. I haven't seen that Vodafone prepay logo in a long time. A few high-end laptops over here, and I've got that same model of digital black and white TV stashed somewhere. An HP iPack up here. Why didn't I get this? Another one of these, and hey, there's even an adding machine hiding out around here. And just above that is a Microsoft EasyBall trackball for toddlers. And another telephone. This one hails from Hanlon Products Corporation of Taiwan. Here's a second solidly built projector. Remember to treat the knob with great care. It even included the most boring cassette in recorded history inside the box. Before we go, by way of something completely different, these boxes contained a bunch of camera equipment that once belonged to Television New Zealand. Anyway, let's go and see what I ended up with. Let's start with this 15-inch Philips 105S monitor, still in its box. This will be fun to open up. So that's where that iMac ended up, parked right next to this IBM PS2 Model 56SX with matching monitor, keyboard and mouse. And oh man is that Model M fun to type on. The cable needs some work, but it's otherwise in pretty good condition. Here are the keyboards I ended up with. The two non-IBM boards are surprisingly satisfying to type on. My love for IBM strikes again with this PC300-P100 from around 1995, and this box of Zip 250 discs, even though I use a Zip 100. This one's going to need a little bit of work and a damn good dusting inside to get it going again, but it's still pretty cool all the same. And if you don't want to look into its gaping maw, very appealing. This was the wildcard purchase, an Acorn Archimedes A3020. I know absolutely nothing about this machine, so this ought to be fun. And now my number one find from the sale, an IBM PCXT 5160 and a 5151 monitor. I went along looking for IBM stuff and boy was I rewarded with this. Unfortunately it's not in working order at the moment, it looks like a capacitor on the motherboard went pop a long time ago. Still, there's a nice assortment of drives inside, as well as somewhere to put your toast in to keep it warm. Plus, I couldn't pass up the chance to own an Australian built IBM, especially since I've been to the city where it was built. Here's two very cute 9-inch IBM monitors from the mid-90s, as well as this very mysterious Mercury monitor. My uncle owned one of these when I was a kid, so this is pure nostalgia for me. An assortment of bits and bobs for my machines, a power supply for the XT, 2 hard drives, 3 floppy drives, a DVD drive, 2 hard drive controller cards, and a couple of mice that match the iMac. And how's this for a score? A brand new in-box compact iPad Pocket PC, plus a still sealed A4 Tech mouse. But of course, what good is a computer without some software to run on it? You can probably tell I'm a bit of a Microsoft fanboy. But wait, there's more. Here's an assortment of various floppy disks, plus an install CD for the iMac and a Windows 7 beta DVD thrown in for good measure, as this is mostly system and productivity stuff though. And so here's the final tally. All up, I ended up walking away with nearly 60 items. I was going to consider myself lucky if I came away with anything at all, but coming home with the assortment that I did, I really should have bought a lotto ticket. I couldn't hope to get everything I saw or found on video, there was just so much stuff everywhere you looked. Consider this video just a sampler of the mountain of goodies on sale. If you'd like to see more videos of what lay inside the warehouse, I've left some links to other videos down below in the description. My immense thanks go out to Graham, Anthony, Mark, and everyone else who was able to help me out in going along and getting all this stuff. It really was a wonderful experience, and I'm so very glad I went. As for the rest of you, let me know if there's anything you'd like me to take a closer look at in future videos. I'll leave you now with some more footage and photos, and thank you all very much for watching.